Hi everybody, it's Carla from Casey Creates, and I have a project share. I've been having fun getting some practice making fabric flowers, and I do have a video from a time back where I might have been doing them for the first time, and I think I've made a little progress in my skill level since then. I've really enjoyed participating in various challenges because they give me good practice. And Debbie Vignola has a challenge that she wants lace storage cards. So I thought I'd share my funny story with you. I have a background in art, and I have a degree in art ed, and I've been teaching art for many years. So I'm thinking, oh, I can just make my own storage cards. And I made my own little template out of a piece of a brochure that was laying around, and I'm like tracing them all out. And the longer I work, the more I'm like, this is really tedious. And then I thought, I couldn't find my mat knife, so here I am trying to cut curves with scissors, and the points were too long. And by the time I got a decent amount of cards even cut out, not to mention covered with paper, it was like 2 hours in, and I was thinking, you are getting a little too sure of yourself. This is a little more challenging than I thought. But I did get them covered. These are not finished because the craftsmanship leaves a lot to be desired on these, but I found this beautiful paper for 40% off at Joann's. The only problem was when I went to Mod Podge it on, I realized it's kind of got a magazine cover feel. So it's not very porous, so it took a long time for them to stick down. So just note to myself, I had to learn that most people have a die cut or special circle cutters or envelope cutters to help them with the curves. And the straight storage cards are much easier. But I have all this wonderful lace trim that's been gifted to me through my challenge, and I really want to get them on the storage cards and in these really cool wooden racks that I found at Joann's. I did end up successful, and I'll show them to you in my VR that I'm going to do for Debbie's challenge. So stay tuned for that. But that was my little storage card challenge that ended up being a little bit more time consuming. Okay, a lot a bit more than I was expecting. And then I want to show you my shabby flowers. And this is, I won't use that because that'll be white on white. But I'll show you the white ones first. They were really fun to make. And they are made with fabric and lace. And this one is my eyelid lace trim. That's probably one of my favorite trims, is eyelid lace. And it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers. And then one of the little white loopy flowers in the middle. And most of them have a backing of either a doily. This one has like a little flower fabric applique on the back. And I did straight stitch the ruffles and gathered it with a needle, and then I just glued them together with my Fabri-Tac. And oops, sorry, there's my neighbor's noisy car. Of course. Hopefully he'll leave here in a second. Now these are fun ones that I made just with the really pretty crocheted lace trim that was just gifted to me yesterday from Jordana. And I loved it so much that I put a little straight stitch, gathered it, and used it as one of the layers for my fabric flowers. And I really like that I kept them white, and they're just, again, layers of lace and doily and trim. So these are like 2 what I would call medium size. And then this one isn't finished yet. I'm still toying with what center I want to put in it. And if I want to keep this is a beautiful layer. It's 2 different colors of cream. this lace was gifted to me from Olivia Hernandez. She gave me such gorgeous trims, and I started layering it with doily and lace and crocheted doily center. And then this was gifted to me from my friend Linda right out of her jewelry box. And I'm thinking this looks so vintage that might be really pretty in the middle. But I haven't finished deciding on that one. And then, so those are my white ones. And then I told myself I wasn't going to make these again because I burned the heck out of my fingers. But I just love how they look when they're finished. And these are what I would call maybe cabbage roses. They could even look like peonies, I guess, if you put a certain type of center in the middle. But this was made with this really pretty ambery gold colored satin. And then I had to cut out 3 different sizes circle, large, medium, and small, and then you have to melt them over a flame, which is where the singeing of your fingers comes in. I guess I didn't do too bad, but I just love the end result. I'm going to count these layers. There's several layers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's usually anywhere from 9 to 10 layers or circles that you have to melt per flower. So that's the most time consuming part. Well, I'd say cutting them out and melting the edges and then layering them is pretty quick. But I just love the end result. I love how fluffy and soft they are. And then these two, I kind of think with the pearl center kind of kept them a little more vintage looking. And this center, by the way, was gifted to me as well. And then I like how you can put the rhinestones in the middle and they get real blingy and shabby chic kind of. So I love the melted flower ones, even though I guess if you want it pretty, it's going to take time, and this is definitely one of those that takes some time, but in the end it's worth it. And I love this color, but I do want to make some in a dusty pink color and an ivory color. So I'll spend some time cutting out fabric circles, and then when I have time I can get to melting the edges, but these are the latest ones I made. And then I have some that I would consider vintage looking, so I want to show you those. And let's save that one. Especially this one is so neutral and natural, and I do like just really understated things sometimes, and I would put that in this one in that category. It's 2 layers of cotton crocheted trim, and then, or actually this is one of those cotton little flowers. They've been tea dyed, and then the center was an avocado dyed little daisy flower with a real rustic wooden bead. And I didn't put a backing on that one yet, but I will. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to do it really quick. I have a piece of felt right here and my Fabri-Tac. There we go. So there, it's covered. And so that one is kind of my real neutral, natural, and that can go on something vintage probably. And then this one I love, love, love because it has eyelid lace trim that's been tea dyed. It has cheesecloth. It has vintage doily, more eyelid lace trim, and then the center of another piece of crocheted doily. And then the center is this, oops, excuse me, is the center is this pretty tan ribbon rose. Excuse me, I'm going to get a drink of water. That cold. It's getting better. So this one is fun. I love the shabbiness and I love the fluffiness of this one. And this one I kind of blinged out, but love it just the same. I cut out little petals from a strip of lace. Here's the back. and I just kind of line them around, and then I put cheesecloth, and then I put the outer ring of a doily for the base. And then this is a melted edge flower with just the, like the lining of a garment. That's what this fabric is. So I'm sure it's polyester of some sort, but I gathered it and cut petals and then melted the edges. And then I put the center of a vintage doily and then the bling in the middle. So that's one of my favorite ones too, because I like the tattered edges of the cheesecloth sticking through. And then I have a couple little tiny ones that were really sweet and fun to make, and that's these. And this one has the center of a vintage doily on the back, and I just layered it with some trim that I gathered with just a straight stitch, and then another layer of doily and a little daisy flower with a flat back pearl in the middle. So that's a little fun one. And then this one again is the center of a doily, some lace trim that I gathered with a straight stitch, and then this is a chiffon flower. It had stamen and stuff in it, but I cut all that off and just kept it kind of simple with the button in the middle. These come in a pack, those little Victorian looking buttons that you can find at the fabric store. So those were two little sweet ones that I made. And then the last one is this pink one, this dusty rose pink one that I loved making. And what I did with this one was, let me see if I can show you. Our trim store has these little grab bags that are real cheap. I think these were like $1. And so I took them and shaped them in a flower petal, like flower petals all the way around the edge of a doily, and then glued it down. You can also use these to make butterflies, like just putting 4 there and 4 there, and then maybe something right in the middle. But I love piecing things together. I like the little putziness that you can do when you're crafting with fabric and doilies. But anyway, this one has the little petals all the way around on the back to give it this look here. And then I just did the same little fabric flower that melted the edges. First I had to gather it and then melt the edges. I gathered another strip of tulle that's the same color, and then this is avocado dyed lace that I gathered. And so there's 3 layers plus the petals, and a fabric flower in the middle and a ribbon rose in the middle of that. So that was a really fun one that I was happy with in the end. So I want to thank all of you for watching, if you hung in there with me, and thanks for listening to my lace storage card rant. This is all a learning curve for me, but I'm having a great time doing it. I'm gonna do my little VR now for Debbie Vignola, so if you want to see the successful storage cards, stay tuned. And thanks again for subscribing. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back again soon. Bye.